everyone, how you doing? Welcome to Flourish by Design TV for our weekly chat. So delighted to have you here, as always, into my design studio, my home studio where all the magic happens. So gorgeous to have you here, and I remembered my earphones tonight. Sorry about that last week. It was very crackly because I actually didn't have the proper earphones. So I got them again tonight. I tend to race on here and delighted to have you all here. So this week I was thinking about again in my contemplation and wondering what would I talk about. And it was really thinking about the whole journey of my self-discovery over the last 10 years and how it's taken me, where has it taken me to? And it kind of came together in a moment when I was talking about with a friend of mine how to design your life, a life true to you. And I think actually that really summed up exactly what I had been doing over these past 10 years. When I started, when I was 40, I started to look at myself, from the inside out. And I got very curious about my internal workings and how I was showing up in the world, but how I was designed from within myself. And I talk about the four pillars actually on the description before this, and talking about our emotional state, our mental state, our spiritual state, and our physical state. And all of those states actually design who we are in the world. And tonight I wanted to take you through actually a little bit longer than normal. These 10 areas that I have, 10 points, I guess. So I think that would help you in just mapping out a little plan of maybe how you can look at designing a life true to you. And it's felt so well worth it, because I would say that over the last 10 years for myself, although there's been so many ups and downs and struggles, and have had personal issues, family, people bereavements, past people passing away. I've had lots of challenges, but I flourished through it, and I flourished through adversity, and I still embrace the challenges that constantly evolve me. And that's what we're here for. We're here to evolve. And really, what living a life true to you is really about living your soul's destiny, that feeling that we all have of this wanting to become more than who we are. And often people talk about that in wanting to become, your full potential, or wanting to, you feel a calling as such. But what is that? It's a calling. This is your soul's journey, your soul wanting to fulfill itself in this lifetime. And I would say on that journey, for myself, I didn't really I didn't know what I was going on when I heard that calling, and I heard it, to go into silence and to take myself away from the business of life. And I started to renovate a cottage in the west of Ireland, where I really connected back with my heritage and my culture, and back to nature, and really connected back into a deeper sense of, connection with life itself. And from there, I went on this quest to become who I'm meant to be in the world. So it was to take many different shapes and many different levels all the way through those 10 years. But I feel now, even though obviously there's so much more, I'm constantly learning all the time, but there is a certain level of becoming, or about to become, or just just at the cusp of becoming somebody that I think life has designed me to be, in a different role and a different incarnation of what I thought it was to be. So I was going to bring you through the 10 steps that I had followed and I was mapping out today, to give you a guide and to see where you're at, or whether, if you're only starting on the journey, whether this could be something that might help you in your contemplation and your self-discovery of designing yourself a life true to you. So the first one I would say is knowing yourself deeply. So that's exactly what I talked about, going to the cottage and starting to self-reflect, starting to not look at the exterior world and what's happening in the exterior world, but looking at yourself internally and just looking at your own core values and what's really important to you within your heart. What are those core, what truly matters to you in the world? And to reflect on what excites you as well. What is makes you happy? What really energizes you and gets your passion flowing for life? I definitely think that was something that I needed to, even though I was very passionate about what I was, minding my children and the role I had in work, but there was another level of passion that was wanting to come through, and it was in response that was happening in the world at the time, and I felt I wanted to do more. So I was getting in touch with that, and then looking at your strengths and what's your natural abilities. Your natural abilities that you're given as a child, and what you would what you naturally have, your gifts and talents, becoming aware of that and recognizing your also your limitations. That's a really big one as well, just to look and see where are your limitations in areas that need might need some help with, or yeah, did you feel that are, I suppose, maybe need to be developed in yourself or could be developed, or areas that you need support with. It's really important. So the second one was, once I had kind of done that and looked into that whole knowing myself deeply, which went on for a long time, and not just, kind of in periods, different stages throughout the journey, and still, discovering more limitations and, trying to develop more skills, just looking at what success is, and how number two, I would say, is defining your own success. So that was a big shift that I had taken. Was I started to define my own success, not what other people had told me success would be, or what life had mapped out for me as, advertised as being successful, but what I would think was a successful life for me. It looks very different to everybody. Would it be a fulfilling life, or a life more filled with more meaning? And what would that look like? So defining a life that is a successful life for you, not, what your friends or your family or society or neighbors or your colleagues or your college mates might think is successful. But it's intrinsic within yourself and something that comes from your heart that really would be give you a sense of satisfaction, a deep sense of satisfaction. The third thing then I would say is to experiment, and not to be, I'm just reading it from a list that I have here to remind myself. Yeah, not to be too particular and precious about a particular plan. Just to be looking at experimentation and trying things, and trying and failing and trying again, and not having a rock solid plan, having a plan but being flexible about that plan, and being, yeah, open to maybe excelling in some areas and not so much in others, finding your way and finding the areas that your strengths, new strengths and weakness, I guess. Just to experiment and to reiterate, try new things and push yourself out of your comfort zone is a huge one, absolutely massive. And it's amazing how you can get comfortable where you were uncomfortable before. It's massive, because I would say that it's funny about even speaking, or you know talking in public, or joining in with groups of people that you're not familiar with. The more you do those things, that becomes really normal to you, and what was a challenge and caused you anxiety before can easily be overcome just by practice. So that's one, to experiment and with life and try new things. And then the fourth one is surround yourself by the right people. And what do I mean by that? The right people. It's people that will inspire you to become true to yourself and more live from the heart. That has been a massive one for me. And I've just been so lucky to be surrounded by so many fabulous friends and mutual, I'd say mutual souls on Oisling Cree, on the way of the heart, that we're all trying to find our way and wanting to be of service and growing and trying to, yeah, step into the challenges that are given to us on a daily, weekly basis, which usually looks like, yeah, a lot of some growth and then a lot of you know, inner work that needs to be done to step up to the next level. So it is constant reiteration, but surrounding yourself with, mentors or friends or, in a community of people that are like-minded like that is huge, huge, huge benefit to anyone. And to distance yourself from those who drain you, and to really be careful and, you know conscious of people who want to drag you down. And the opposite of that is so true, to be conscious of the energy that you surround yourself with, to and who's influencing you, because the environment that you surround yourself with and by has a huge impact on you. And rather than, constantly having to battle that all the time, it's easier just to, I know it's not easy all the time, depending on where you work and, your life, we'll say, situation. But I would be conscious of who do you allow to influence you. I would say that I have this golden circle of influence where there's certain people in that golden circle that I would allow influence my decisions. And I'm very careful about that, because the intentions of people are really what you want to watch. And just make sure that the people that you're surrounding yourself are of good intention and are like-minded. And then align your work with your purpose. That's the fifth one. I would say, to live truly to yourself, it's about not even, even if you weren't changing jobs as such, but you're getting in touch with your values that we talked about on step one, was just that knowing yourself. Then if you can move yourself into a more purposeful, intentional work environment, that would be give you so much benefit. It's just hugely beneficial that, I suppose even for myself in design, for example, I love to use the advantages of, being able to bring forward projects that are aligned with my ethics and what I love in the world, conscious design, and working with communities or working with NGOs or working with sustainability or trying to help the environment. So it's amazing that you can actually, wherever you are in the world, in the position that you are, maybe you can align yourself and bring your value system into the workplace rather than having to move jobs. Sometimes it's just you're bringing your purpose into your job. So that would be something I would say, aligning your work with your purpose. And then I would say your sixth one was prioritizing well-being. That's really important to live a life true to you, because your mental, your physical, emotional, spiritual health has a huge effect on how you can actually show up in the world. And giving yourself, scheduling time for rest and fun, and fun activities, some exercise and creativity. I can be sometimes have to pull myself back on this, because I work and teach long hours, and sometimes having that conversation during the week with my friend, that sometimes you kind of go, wow, like you can get a bit too serious and focused on, because you have so many deadlines. But it's making that time to have a bit of fun and not to take life too seriously. Make sure that you're having those down times. And even like for myself, going to Australia, going to London, going to Germany during the summer, all those traveling trips, and Bali last year. I've had a lot of travel this year, which has been amazing. And it really enriches your life so much, because it's not just the experience, it's the travel, it's who you meet on the way, it's the conversations with the people that you meet there, and just opens your mind to see different cultures, especially if you're living in Ireland. It's such a small country and there's not that much. Yeah, well, we have a lot of different cultures here, but it's beautiful to get off the island. It seems so tiny. Yeah, so definitely prioritizing your well-being and what really lights you up and what gives you that spark in your life. Then I would say number 7 then is stay flexible and keep learning. Absolutely. So keep learning, and that love of learning has a huge impact on living a life true to you. Keep you know, I'd say adapting to life. Life is always changing, constantly changing. And I would say living life true to you would mean that when you're looking at the changes in life and in society and how things are changing, if you're looking to see where and what will I evolve into, and you have a bit more of a choice when you can start to keep, you're keeping abreast of what's happening, I guess, keep learning, keep curious, basically. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is to be curious, to always be curious about what's new and what can I develop in myself to meet the times that we're in at this moment. Keep evolving, professionally, personally, and in your role in society. So it's always pushing yourself in all the different areas. As I always say, about your relationships are so key, and always expanding your circle of influence is hugely beneficial as well. Then number 8, I would say, is listen to your intuition. Yeah, living a life true to you is massive with to do with your intuition, because your intuition is really the guidance system. We talk about spirituality and the direction that your life is to take. And I believe, in the way I live my life, is that I have a destiny that is particular to me, and that I need to fulfill while I'm here. And it has really kicked off in the last number of years, where I've just been brought from one place to the next and learning something new along the way all the time, with all the you know ups and downs that I've been on. It's absolutely been because of the learning that I've gotten through what stepping into where my intuition asked me to go. So I would say logic is great, but the gut feeling. What's the gut feeling? And this is a really key one, because sometimes, what looks right on paper and what ticks all the boxes on paper is a lot different to when you meet somebody in reality, and you get a good feeling that maybe it's not what it was being sold as. And then the opposite is true, where society might say a certain character, a certain somebody, or a certain position or a certain relationship, shouldn't be isn't right for you. That sometimes you're listening to your gut, and yourself in your heart that it is true for you. And just to use that intuition to be to know from the deepest level that something is more aligned to you or is not. That's really, really key. And I think for women especially, I think sometimes we listen to that too late. And sometimes we have known something that wasn't right from the beginning. Now we spend a long time then having to undo relationships that were never meant to be, or learning the lessons that we needed to learn within that relationship. So I would say definitely your intuition is something that you need to listen to, and to really design a life true to you. It's key skill to build. And the other one is, I would say, create a daily joy. So I'd say number 9 is that is definitely something that will, yeah, design a life true to you. Because finding that joy for yourself, what can you bring into your life on a daily basis that gives you joy, that sparks that, that beautiful feeling within yourself, just happy to be alive no matter what. It doesn't, not to be attached to a certain outcome of how life is going. And I know that's difficult on some days, but if we can have a personal thing that we really enjoy, whether it's going for a walk or whether it's, you know, doing some sketching, whether it's listening to music, but it needs to be extremely personal. I think that's the thing, when you, that tapping into how you fill yourself up on a daily basis is, a beautiful way to design a life that's true to you. And it feels beautiful because it is so unique to every individual what they enjoy. And I think when you can recognize that in yourself, and then when you make time to give yourself that treat, that a little bit of something that feeds your soul, then you deepen that relationship with yourself, and you definitely start to cherish that time with yourself and that alone time, which is so important. Yeah, I love that one. And then the last one, I would say leave room for magic. So living a life true to you, definitely you need to leave some room for magic, for not everything can be planned and shouldn't be planned. And it's always the most beautiful things in life aren't planned. They just happen in the moment. And the thing that you never thought you would expect to happen, expect actually just happens, and that can change the course of your life. So I would say don't forget to leave room for magic. And especially sometimes with women, we like to have everything planned and ordered and organized. And yeah, I think let go of the plan and let things flow, and you never know what might turn up. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I'm trying to keep it short so it's not too long for you, and I'll give you a little rundown on it again. So, as I say, if you want to design a life that's true to you, these are the top 10 tips. Number one is know yourself deeply. Number two was define your own success. Number three is experiment. And number four is surround yourself with the right people. Definitely. Number five is align work with your purpose. And number six is prioritize your well being. So put yourself first and make sure that you're looking after yourself properly. Number seven is stay flexible and keep learning. Yeah, that flexible psychology, so important. One of the top skills for the 21st century that I talk about. And keep learning. Yeah, keep learning, keep growing, keep putting yourself out there. And number eight is listen to your intuition. Yeah, absolutely. Deepen that understanding to your intuition, listen to your gut. Create a daily joy, number nine. And number 10 is leave room for magic. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. And just trying to keep it short for you. So I know time is precious for everybody. So I love you and leave you. See you next week, and take care. Bye.